Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom.
Good morning. My name is Jas Visser, the author of Wednesday Wisdom, and this week's article is called The Value of Grunge Work. I have an unfortunate fondness for hands-on work, especially for hands-on work that clears out tech debt. This is clearly a character deficiency that precludes me from reaching the higher levels of the corporate hierarchy because, given a choice between attending a meeting about the management philosophy for the new year and fixing some spammy alerts, I will pretty much always choose the latter. Not because I don't value management philosophy, I really do, but because over time I have found most meetings about management philosophy to be useless and non spammy alerts to be very useful. I've never had to look far to find hands on work. One of the unfortunate aspects of computer science is that when we are planning to build something, we have pretty much no idea what we're going to do or exactly how we're going to do it. Sure, we write design docs, hold meetings, and make technology choices, but we invariably build a wobbly pile of software that has many warts and which frequently oozes dark fluids out of the many creaks and crevices up and down the pile. It cannot be helped. That's the state of our profession. The remarkable absence of detailed ideas on what we're going to build is neatly matched by an abundance of time pressure. As a consequence, we just start doing things and make it all up as we go along. This is what the agile methodology is, by the way, admitting that we're just making it up as we go along, packaged in a cool sounding name complete with scrum bags, because we're winging it based on what people told us most recently doesn't sound like something that should cost $500 an hour. As a result, we incur tech debt. Weird term, really, tech debt. ChatGPT tells me that debt is an obligation where one party, the debtor, borrows money or resources from another party, the creditor, with the promise to repay it in the future, often with interest. In the case of tech debt, what did we borrow? And from whom? Did we borrow a bad design from some future me and now I want it back with interest? Anyway, since we're making it up as we go along, we are making myriads of bad decisions, sometimes knowingly, often unknowingly, and sometimes realizing that we eventually need to address these. Depending on the size and location of the bad decision, the fix might either be a cool project to rewrite some part of the system, or it might be a heap of hands on work that requires the application of liberal amounts of polyurethane foam and Flex Seal liquid, two substances that, were they magically to disappear from the universe, will undoubtedly be found to hold all buildings together. There's a nice correlation between the worlds of tech and finance related to whose problem fixing these bad decisions is and who will benefit from it. My dear old father always used to say, if you're 50,000 guilders in debt, you have a problem. If you are 50 million guilders in debt, the bank has a problem. This relates nicely to the wonderful world of tech debt. If your distributed global workflow engine cannot cut it, that will become a coveted project that will most likely lead to people getting promoted. But if your bad alert setup sends a flood of pages that have no tangible resolution, that is for the poor suckers in the on-call rotation to deal with. Tech debt is a thing, and every organization I know has plenty of it. How should we deal with it? A common approach is to do nothing. Not entirely nothing though, because there will be an abundance of complaints, but at the end of that nothing will be done, and the only tangible result of sorts will be an hour spent in the operational meeting complaining about the wildfires that are raging up and down the tech stack. Teams that do nothing will eventually drown in tech debt, and that most commonly results in the on-call being on fire. Inevitably, this leads to calls for two people being on call simultaneously to deal with the onslaught, a strategy I call throwing blood against metal. This way lies madness, but it is surprising how long this kind of works, as long as there are fresh recruits that can be thrown at the machine. Executives will pursue this strategy for as long as it works, where working is loosely defined as there being no visible short-term impact to the bottom line, even though the attrition rate of team members may be atrocious. Teams that do nothing rely on the goodness of individual engineers to relentlessly toil in the trenches trying to improve things. Managers love these people because it allows them to get away with doing nothing for a longer period of time. Unfortunately, this love typically does not translate to official appreciation for the people fighting the good fight. They quite frequently find that they cannot get promoted because they're not doing next level work. Managers do not like drowning in shit, but that doesn't mean they appreciate the shit shovelers. If you want to meaningfully split infinitives, if you want to meaningfully address tech debt, that work will have to become OKRs for the team. The best approach I've ever seen for dealing with tech debt was while I was at Google SRE. And I apologize for bringing the G word up again. One of the most annoying aspects of ex-Googlers must surely be that every sixth sentence starts with at Google, ... But it must be said, Google did a lot of things right in their time. I'm afraid it's no longer exactly that time, though I'm sure there are many, many areas where Google is still a shining light compared to all other companies. Some inspired Google SRE executive, probably Urs, a man who is so famous that his first name is enough, or maybe Ben Traynor, recognized that tech debt was a thing, and that tech debt does not get discharged fully in tech bankruptcy. So what they did was make grunge work an official expectation at every engineering level. This automatically meant that you could not get promoted without doing your fair share of grunge work, which meant that it started showing up in OKRs for teams and individuals. This ultimately meant that a lot of grunge work got done. It cannot be underestimated how well this system worked. It is of course completely obvious to the rationally inclined that it did, but it is remarkable that I have not seen this exact program in existence before or since. Making clearing tech debt a job expectation requires acknowledging that tech debt exists and that it is crucial for the longevity of the tech platform that it be cleared. These are two insights that are much rarer than you would expect. I've been in teams that were suffering from near tech bankruptcy, but that would rather discuss the two persons on call solution than acknowledge that they might need to consistently and quarter over quarter spend 15% of their headcount dealing with the mess. This sad state of affairs usually has its origin in relentless pressure from the organization to build features. None of this withstands 5 seconds of rational analysis, but hey, if the world we live in would value rational analysis, it would be a vastly different world. A hidden advantage of distributing grunge work evenly across the team is that it serves to improve knowledge acquisition and sharing. One of the reasons I like doing grunge work is that I find that it deepens my knowledge about the tech stack. Digging into the system to solve real problems or to extract metrics is a great way to figure out how it actually hangs together, and that knowledge eventually helps me to design and implement the next generation of the system. Without grunge work, you might have a good theoretical and maybe a high-level overview of the system, but only grunge work can give you in-depth and hands-on knowledge. When it comes to solving tech debt and acquiring deep knowledge about the system, there's no alternative for grunge work. Tech organizations should do a better job recognizing this, and they should have a plan in place to discharge of the tech debt in a way that means that everyone does their fair share.